Laura proposed to me in public and set the date for the wedding. On the wedding day, our friends and family gathered, and a video played on the big screen showing her dancing in a mini skirt with the love of her life. I became a laughingstock, and Laura grabbed the mic and asked, "Did everyone enjoy the video?" Her love, Tim, stepped out from the crowd, dressed in a tailored suit, holding a diamond ring on one knee. "Laura, marry me. I want you to marry for love, not obligation." Laura smiled, took the ring, and turned to me. "Dino, what do you say?" I barely hesitated and immediately said, "Wishing you a lifetime of happiness and lots of kids." At the wedding, Tim knelt, holding the ring high. "Laura, marry me. I hope you marry for love." The crowd was shocked. Friends and family there mostly looked grim. And I, Dino, as the groom, was clearly the biggest fool. Their eyes were filled with pity, some even enjoying my misery. Laura seemed oblivious, asking me, "Dino, what do you say?" She took the ring, her stunning face glowing with a bright smile. It was like she had been waiting for Tim to propose all along. I didn't hesitate for a second and said, "Wishing you a happy life together and making lots of kids. I'll even foot the bill for this wedding." The crowd was stunned. Most thought I was just forcing a smile. They knew I'd been chasing Laura for 7 years, from high school to college, before we finally got together. Her family was more anxious because they wanted Laura to marry into my family, which would benefit their business a lot. Laura paused for a moment, her face cooled. Her eyes seemed to redden, and she said with a forced smile, "Dino, you agreed that easily? Have you ever loved me?" "I have, and I still do. But precisely because I love you, I respect your choice. Since Tim is in your heart, you should be together. Love is about giving, not imprisoning. Laura, I sincerely wish you happiness." I almost moved myself to tears. Tim saw this and got up, attempting to take Laura's hand. "Laura, see now? Dino doesn't care about you, he isn't even trying to keep you. Marry me." Just as their hands were about to touch, Laura suddenly stepped back. Then she hurled the ring at Tim's face with disdain. "Get lost. What right do you have to slander the man I love?" Everyone was frozen again. They thought it was just a cliché wedding crash drama. But the twist was so exciting. Tim said, puzzled, "Laura, what are you doing? Last night at your bachelorette party, I confessed, and you didn't refuse. You didn't say no when I suggested crashing the wedding? Not refusing doesn't mean agreeing." Laura's voice was cold. She turned and walked over to me, holding my hand with interlocked fingers. "Dino, did you enjoy my little show?" I smiled faintly, letting go of her hand. "The show was great. I loved it. But there's no need for this wedding." "What do you mean? I was just joking with you, and you're canceling the wedding?" Laura pointed at Tim and said, "We just grew up together. Yes, we hang out a lot, but I've always behaved myself, so don't make a fuss. Since I started pursuing Laura, she's been like this. Back then, she kept me guessing but never turned down other suitors, enjoying the attention. When I wanted to give up, she suddenly appeared by my side, holding my hand, murmuring, 'Dino, without you, I would die. You can't leave, you have to keep pursuing me.' Whenever she did that, I gave in, because I was hopelessly in love with her and grateful too. When my parents died, my family was fighting over power, and I was abused to the point of having depression and tried to end my life several times. It was Laura who blindly dragged me out to have fun but never forced me to live, just showed me what's enjoyable about life. I pulled through, obsessed with her, but she kept leading me on, causing me pain. She would say, in Journey to the West, the monk and his disciples had to face 81 trials to obtain the scriptures. Isn't undergoing challenges for true love romantic? It was like she brainwashed me, living through pursuit and pain. Finally, on the night of our graduation party, Laura confessed to me in front of everyone. Laura stood on stage, kneeling, smiling radiantly. 3 years of high school. For years of college, you took 99 steps toward me. Dino, let me take the last step. Let's be together. That day, I found love. In our night of passion, I learned Laura, who seemed wild and careless, was actually intact and even cried when I hurt her. As a traditional man, I was really concerned about these things, so I loved her even more. But even after we got together, Laura wouldn't explicitly turn down suitors. Instead, she dramatically introduced me as her man right when they thought they succeeded. I didn't understand why she did it, and it troubled me. She never suffered internally, but her external issues troubled me. She asked me to keep a distance from female friends, even male ones. I did it, but she didn't. I was tired long ago, just addicted to love, unable to quit. Yet at our sacred wedding, she continued the antics. I couldn't stand it. Remembering the past, the more I recalled, the more I felt disconnected from her. Dino, why'd you go quiet? You're not seriously gonna call off the wedding, are you? Laura whined as she clung to my arm. She snapped me out of my thoughts, and I nodded. Yes, Laura, the wedding's canceled, and we should break up too. I'm really glad we didn't get the marriage license first. Speaking of that, thanks to you. If you hadn't gone to hang out with Tim on the day we were supposed to get it, I'd be divorcing you now. My words left Laura in stunned silence. She stared at me like a criminal in a movie about to snap. She's done this during past arguments, making me wonder if she's got some mental issues. I ignored her and addressed everyone there. Today's mess is my fault. I'll come by later to apologize in person. With that, the crowd had nothing more to say. It was already embarrassing enough for both families. Any more drama and things would definitely turn into a joke. After all, both my family and Laura's care about reputation. Just then, Tim stormed up to me. Eyes red with anger, he spat out. Laura already humbled herself, and you're still making things difficult for her. Are you even a man? I looked at him, puzzled. Tim, you like Laura. This breakup is exactly what you've wanted, right? So, take her and go instead of pestering me. Tim stood there for a moment, realizing perhaps I made sense. But soon, he blurted out, I'll take Laura away, but I'll never forgive you for embarrassing her. Oh, come on. Your intimate dancing video from the bachelor party. She shared that herself. And when you showed up trying to crash the wedding, she didn't exactly say no. It seems today's embarrassment is her own doing. Patiently, I said, so Tim, take my advice. Stop making a scene here. Go do what you need to do. Inside, I was hurting. Even if love seemed gone, I'd been addicted to loving Laura. Cutting ties felt like nicotine withdrawal. And with Tim being such a shady character hounding me, if I were less mannered, someone else would have had him beaten up by now. You teaching me how to act? Tim waved off my words, taking a swing at me. I sighed, easily dodging him by shifting my feet. Tugging his tie, he fell to his knees, gritting his teeth in pain. I've practiced martial arts since high school and never slacked. Best not to start trouble, I said, coolly signaling the bodyguards. Please escort Mr. Tim out. They approached, but Laura interjected. Stop. No one touches Tim. Still protecting him? My heart ached, even as I frowned. The guards stopped, looking to me for guidance. They'd been with me since high school, treating Laura as their future lady. I sighed, shaking my head to dismiss them for now. Tim, immediately cocky, remarked, Laura, I knew you'd have my back. Facing me, he taunted, Dino, how'd chasing Laura for 7 years turn out? All your money and power don't mean a thing. Our childhood bond beats it all. I nodded, not wanting to argue pointlessly. Love isn't something to argue over. If proving I'm better requires a debate, I've already lost. Dino, apologize to Laura now. Get on your knees until she forgives you. Tim yelled at me. Are you out of your mind? I've already canceled the wedding and called it quits with Laura. Why waste energy on me instead of wooing her? I asked, bewildered. Tim hesitated, then eventually said, of course, I'll pursue Laura. But you humiliated her, so you must apologize. It's my duty to ensure you do, to show Laura my sincerity. Sigh. Tim, I never use my status to bully, but that doesn't mean I can be targeted for no reason. I maintain my composure, but don't mistake it for an invitation to push me around. Take Laura and leave. Save some dignity for yourself. I sighed, making a final plea. Yet Tim's pride was hurt. He swung again. This time, Laura slapped him. Tim staggered back, and Laura kicked him in the legs, forcing him down again. Laura, you, Tim began, then fell silent. Because Laura had taken out a hairpin, pressing it against Tim's throat. Laura looked at me with a manic grin and a bashful demeanor. But her voice was pleading. Dino, I really know I was wrong. I promise I won't fool around anymore. To prove it, should I just kill him right now? She's actually gone mad. That's what I think, and clearly what everyone else thinks too. I've realized whenever we argue intensely, Laura seems to have a destructive urge. Cancel the wedding, but let's hold off on the breakup for now. Let him go. I had to agree, at least for now. If someone died at my wedding, it would have a huge impact on my family too. Otherwise, with someone like Tim, whether he lives or dies isn't really my concern. Laura beamed a bright smile and let go of Tim. Then, as if nothing happened, she ran up to me, jumped up, wrapped her beautiful legs around my waist, and hugged my neck. Dino, I'm so glad you can forgive me. Otherwise, I couldn't go on living, Laura said as tears started to fall. Anyone could see she truly loved me. I could see it too, but it also freaked me out a little. Get down first, we'll talk at home. I sighed. After all the guests left, Laura's parents and brother found me in the hotel's lounge. At that moment, Laura was already taking off her makeup, saying she wanted to go home and cook for me. I sat in a chair, rubbing my temples, exhausted. Thinking back on these years with Laura, I always felt tired. I love her, but it's like I've got a serious illness, wearing me out. Laura's father sat next to me and sighed. Dino, we've spoiled Laura, but she wasn't lying about one thing. She'd never betray you, and she loves you very much. Her mom held my hand, saying, Dino, all these years, I've treated you like my own son. So, even if I'm begging, forgive Laura this once. Okay? That wasn't just talk. Though at first they saw me as a good catch, over time I saw they had a solid set of values. Especially her mom. She was on my side even before I won Laura over. When I was sick a few times, even Laura went out having fun. Her mom looked after me. My parents passed away early, so to some extent, they filled a bit of that parental role for me. Ken, Laura's brother, added brother-in-law. My parents always favored Laura over me, so she was spoiled to no end. But she really loves you. Every spot at home where a photo can be placed, it's your photo. When she's chatting, she can't go 3 sentences without mentioning you. And although she was a bit much this time, it's not unforgivable. I looked at them, eventually nodded, and said, I'll go home and have a good talk with Laura. After all these years, it's not just about Laura and me. Our families are tightly bound together. If Laura can manage her temper, I'm willing to give her a chance. When I got back to the villa, I smelled food cooking as soon as I walked in. Just from the aroma, I could tell it was my favorite dish. It reminded me of how Laura learned to cook for me, even though she couldn't stand the smell of grease. She dived into the kitchen just so I could enjoy her cooking every day. She really did do a lot for me. Maybe I shouldn't have been so abrupt at the wedding. I walked into the kitchen and saw Laura cooking, but my smile froze because Tim was there peeling garlic. Dino, you're back. Laura wiped her hands on her apron and moved to hug me. I stepped back to avoid her, smirking coldly. Laura, I just thought I should give you a chance, and you've already pulled this? Really? What's up now? Laura asked, looking puzzled. I frowned and pointed at Tim. Why is he in my house? Oh, Dino, Tim's just my childhood friend. Don't overthink it. Laura acted like nothing from the wedding even happened, brushing it off like she'd forgotten it ever took place. Tim even smirked at me. Dino, don't be so narrow-minded. Laura and I grew up together. If we wanted anything to happen, you wouldn't stand a chance. Are they both suffering from amnesia? I felt almost insane, laughed out of frustration, and pointed to the door. All right, you can both leave. I don't want to see you anymore. Dino, isn't that a bit shameless? Tim stood up, pointed at me. Laura's giving you a chance. Just take it and drop it. Why all the hassle? Otherwise, don't blame me for taking Laura away. Please, take her away. I'm starting to get annoyed. Laura looked at me, stunned. Dino, what do you mean? You don't want me anymore? Yeah, Laura, I don't. We're breaking up. I took a deep breath. From now on, don't show up in front of me. Then I headed to the living room. Laura followed. Dino, are you sure you don't want me? Yes. I shouted at her. I was going to forgive you, But you brought Tim back. What do you think of me, Laura? Get out. Seeing you makes me sick. Even in our worst fights, I've always kept my voice and emotions in check. But this time I couldn't hold back. Laura shook her head, crying as if she didn't recognize me, then said, "Fine, Dino, don't regret it. I'll leave now. I used to play around, but I never cheated on you. But with how you're treating me now, I'll go get a room with Tim." My heart ached. Even though I decided to end things with Laura, what she said made me feel a deep sense of betrayal. The feeling made it hard to breathe. Yet, I ignored her, watching her leave before telling security, inform management to delete her access, remove her fingerprint and facial recognition, and change the password. Laura stopped at the door, turned around, and glared at me. "Dino, you brought this on yourself." Then she left. Tim sneered at me and stuck up his middle finger. I ignored him, had someone pour me some tea, and tried to calm down. Honestly, I don't have much time to deal with my own feelings because work is just too busy. There's this big project that came down from another country that's finally taking off, and I've got a ton of stuff to handle personally. To be honest, even today's wedding was something I had to report to those above me. I got home late at night after working at the office. I instinctively glanced around, worried that Laura might pop out and scare me again. No matter how late I came home, she'd always hide somewhere, scare me half to death, then hug me and tell me how much she missed me all day. Then it hit me, Laura won't be doing that anymore. After a quick wash-up, I lay down to rest. I had just fallen asleep when my phone suddenly started buzzing nonstop. Laura had sent me a message. There was a photo with a table covered in drinks. Everything from straight-up 90-proof vodka to whiskey, and even some potent homemade stuff. Then she sent a voice note in her uniquely tempting voice. "Dino, you know? Since you don't want me anymore, I only feel like you're with me when I'm drunk and half out of it." Another image came in. It was Tim, tied to a chair like some mummy, even with a gag in his mouth. Laura said, "Haha, don't worry, Dino. In this life, there's only one man for me, and that's you. Other guys, they're just like cats and dogs to me. I wouldn't let them take advantage of me." Crazy. I wanted to find some lyrics to exactly describe Laura because just saying she's crazy didn't quite cut it. But I couldn't think of a word that fit her actions. I paused for a while, didn't reply, and just blocked Laura. Even though it hurt, I actually hoped she'd stay with Tim or something. Then she wouldn't bother me. Maybe I could get over her quicker. Lost in thought, I drifted to sleep. But as I slept, I felt this cool sensation on my skin. It was Laura's touch. Her body was always cold. Was I dreaming of her? After all those years of loving her like an addiction, dreaming of her seemed normal, right? And this dream, it didn't seem very innocent. I suddenly snapped open my eyes and saw Laura sitting on top of me. She was wearing my favorite black nightgown, her long messy hair framing her beautifully radiant face. "Dino, I came back for you. You must miss me too, right?" Laura leaned down, kissing me like a starving person. I pushed her away furiously and said, "Laura, we're over. Stop this nonsense." She sat weakly on the bed, pushed her hair back, smiling like a maniac, and said in a crazy tone, "No, Dino, if you leave me, I die." She moved toward me like a dark, crawling creature, fast as anything. Before I knew it, she grabbed me, kissed me hard. With such force, our lips collided, and I could feel the tenderness of my lips cut by her teeth. She kept going, even biting down hard on my lip. There was no way to push her off because every push felt like it'd tear my lips apart. She got what she wanted, pouring out all her emotions on me. Then she let go, lying limply against me, murmuring, "Dino, we can't ever be apart." With no emotion, I pushed her off the bed and said indifferently, "Laura, I'm saying it one last time. We're done. I don't love you anymore." Impossible. "Dino, quit joking. How could you not love me? You're my everything, and if you don't love me, what's the point of living?" Laura suddenly grabbed her bag and pulled out a sharp knife, pressing it to her throat, laughing crazily. "Dino, if I die for you, you'd remember me forever, right?" Her eyes were wild, and she sounded like a total lunatic. I knew she'd really do it. "Put it down." I sighed, "Laura, I'll give you one last chance. Cut off all inappropriate relationships. Can you do that? I couldn't afford to let the national project suffer any more delays. If it was just my own business, I'd rather lose money to break away from Laura completely. But this was a national project. It might even need a public-facing representative. So I had to keep her calm. Don't worry, Dino. Tim won't bother you anymore. Laura tossed the knife aside, crawled back onto the bed, and cuddled up to me. Looking up bashfully, Dino, it wasn't enough earlier. You know I've got a lot going on. I need all my energy for work. I'm exhausted, just worn out. Laura's eyes turned wild again. So Dino, earlier you were just trying to calm me down. You really want to leave me, right? No. Then come on. Do it. I couldn't say no because I knew if I did, she'd probably go try to kill herself again. The next day when I got to work, the driver mentioned I looked a bit hollow, advised I should take it easy. I didn't bother scolding him. Being my driver and bodyguard, I really wanted to ask him how Laura got in last night. The driver seemed to see my question and said, "Ma'am had a bottle of gasoline. If I didn't let her in, she'd have set herself on fire." Sir, believe me, she meant it. I understand. I sighed. The driver added, "Sir, I suggest taking ma'am to see a mental health professional. You think she wouldn't kill the doctor?" I asked casually, surprised I assumed Laura could kill so easily. The driver didn't say anything more, but looked really concerned. When I got to the office, I jumped straight into work. Last night, Laura kept me up till dawn. I was exhausted and sore all over. If I wasn't in good shape, I'd probably be dead in bed. I called my assistant Mike in. I grabbed the strong tea he handed me and took a sip to wake up. I patted his shoulder and said, "You've got good hands. Give me a massage." "Dino, you don't look too good. Didn't get enough sleep?" Mike asked while massaging my shoulder. He's my college buddy, like a little brother. I didn't want to revisit last night, so I switched topics. "Isn't your wife due soon?" "I'm giving you time off to be with her." "No need. Our parents are in town. They've got it covered," Mike said. Suddenly, the office door swung open. Laura walked in, wearing a black dress, her long curly hair looking fabulous. I looked pale compared to her rosy glow. "Dino, I brought you lunch," Laura said, then stopped, glaring at Mike and me. With a sudden mood swing, she grumbled, "Mike, how dare you touch my man?" He thought Laura was kidding and shrugged it off. Laura suddenly smiled and said, "Okay, I'm here now so you can leave for lunch." "Sure. Dino, see you later." Mike nodded and left. Laura unpacked the lunch she'd brought and set it in front of me. As she massaged my shoulders, she said, "Dino, if you need someone to massage you, I'll come with you to work tomorrow. I'll even set up a kitchen in your break room to cook for you." "No need for all that," I replied, munching on my lunch. "Besides, Mike's hands are stronger. Feels better when he does it." "So, Mike's better than me, huh?" she asked, her tone suddenly cold. I glared at her. "I'm straight, and you should know that by now. Are you seriously jealous over this?" "I don't care. No one touches you but me," Laura huffed, acting all cutesy. After lunch, I sipped the tea Laura brought. One glance, and my hair stood on end. It was loaded with herbs like gokshura, cistanche, epimedium, maca, antler, ginseng, goji, mulberry, and astragalus. How on earth would I not be overly energized drinking this? "Drink it, Dino, or I'm not leaving," Laura nagged. I sighed and downed it all. With her around, getting any work done is nearly impossible. She's known for her antics. Working together often ended in an office escapade. As she left, I breathed a sigh of relief. She's too wild, and being in the same space makes me anxious. Honestly, I'm kind of scared of her, just eager to finish this project and maybe get some distance. Around 3 p.m., Mike burst into my office, looking pale and upset. "What's up?" I asked. He shut the door, groaning, "Dino, is she okay? She went to my place, warning my wife to keep me away from you. Just because I gave you a shoulder rub, she got jealous? Back in college, when you twisted your ankle playing basketball, I helped rub your foot. But she didn't act like this. Your wife's all right, I hope? She's so far along now, she doesn't need this stress," I worried aloud. My brain was a mess thinking, Is Laura really going nuts? She's always been a bit possessive, but her warnings came off as jokes, not threats to Mike's wife. Sockeye, but she was scared, Mike said. I thought about it and said, take leave from now until this project's done. Is she seriously okay? Mike asked, nodding. I sighed, recalling what he said about that time he helped with my ankle. Laura had joked about being jealous. But then didn't Mike get jumped by some thugs later at the cybercafe? Could it have been Laura's doing? Never crossed my mind before, but now, I chose not to mention it, sparing Mike the worry, and sent him home. By 9 p.m., wrapping up work, I planned to head home. Outside the building, the car was already waiting, and the driver winked at me. Glancing inside, I saw Laura in the back seat. Really wanted to sit up front to avoid her, but I knew she'd go crazy. When I got in, she wrapped herself around me, like a playful pup, sniffing my neck, collar, and shoulders, even checking for stray hairs with her phone's flashlight. Hand over your phone, Laura demanded. I suddenly felt suffocated, seething a bit. Dino, afraid of me finding something you don't want me to see? She asked, face shadowed. I sighed and gave her my phone. Here you go, I said, resigned. Here's your reward, she said, leaned in, and pecked me on the cheek, then cracked my password. It was her birthday. Should have changed it. She looked thrilled, then dove into my messages, calls, even my notes. Her expression darkened while browsing. Pointing at a chat, she said, who's this Lily? Why's she calling you big bro and asking for a handbag? My heart ached. Lily's my cousin, studying abroad. You've met her, I muttered, battling the tightness in my chest. She has parents, so why is she coming to you? Laura asked. I was losing it. Laura, you're already crazy jealous of Mike, and now you're suspicious of my cousin? Everyone tried to screw me over back then, except Uncle's family, who stood by me. They even lost their son because of it, so of course, I'm good to Lily. What's the problem with that? You're yelling at me because of another woman? Tears streamed down Laura's face. Can someone just kill me already? I thought miserably. If this project wasn't crucial for the country, I'd quit right now. Laura, if you keep this up, I might not be able to stay with you. This is exhausting for me, I said, trying to stay calm. I was wrong. Suddenly, Laura threw herself into my arms, handed me her phone, and said, Dino, I'll change. I won't act like this anymore. Please don't be mad at me. I'm scared you'll stop wanting me when you're angry. I finally let out a sigh of relief. Back home, I had the late-night snack she prepared, drank her herbal tea, and then went to shower. Midway through, Laura joined me and we spent an hour in there. In bed, she wrapped around me like a snake, not letting go. Another night of indulgence. The next day at work, I felt utterly drained, like life had been sucked out of me. At lunchtime, Laura didn't come to bring food. Feeling relaxed, I went to the cafeteria to eat with everyone else. But before I could finish, the driver came rushing in. I asked why the hurry. He said, I went home to walk the dog, and the wife wasn't there. The housekeeper said she heard the missus booking a flight to the UK. And last night, the missus was suspicious of Miss Lily from the third house, and I'm worried. The driver didn't finish because it seemed too crazy. I almost fainted. Could Laura really be going after my cousin? Quickly, I called, if Laura looks for you, don't meet her. Change where you live. My cousin asked, confused. What's up? Thinking it over, I said, Laura's not well mentally right now. I'm worried she might hurt you. Just listen to me. Got it, bro? I'll crash at a friend's and not post anything online to leave any traces. She promised, and I felt relieved. Our house has had power struggles, so my cousin's always cautious, never reckless. I tried calling Laura, but her phone was off. It takes over 9 hours to fly to London, so she might be on the plane. What a psycho. I slammed the table. 3 days passed. I stayed in touch with my cousin regularly. I didn't use my phone, though. I had the driver call so Laura wouldn't see my call records and cause more chaos. Knowing my cousin was safe gave me peace of mind. Laura returned late on the third night. When she got home, she looked exhausted and anxious. I was eating when I saw her like that. I was honestly scared. I could crush her like an ant, but she really scared me sometimes, because I knew she'd truly risk it all. Dino, why is your cousin avoiding me? Is she guilty? Tell me the truth, Dino. Is there something between you two? Laura rushed to me, her face pleading. Laura, get real. Lily is my cousin. What are you even thinking? I yelled, you promised not to do this again, yet you went after my cousin. What are you doing? If you'd found her, what then? What would I do? Dino, how can you ask me that? I love you too much to let anyone near you. No one. Especially since you've repeatedly said you don't want me anymore. Anyone close to you is my enemy. Laura laughed and cried, sitting on my lap, caressing my face. Dino, you'll never know how much I love you. You better not betray me. Her words, tone, and expression gave me the chills, 'cause it felt like the subtext was, betray me and I'll kill you. I won't betray you, but please draw the line, I said, keeping my tone firm, or push me to the edge. I'd never let you leave alone. If you stop wanting to live, I'd go with you. Living or dying, just being with you is enough. Laura said lovingly. That night I was put through the ringer again. So went half a month of torture. Finally, the project wrapped up. I'd lost weight but felt relieved. With the project done, I had to report and would be stuck in meetings for a week. A week in a place free from outside interference. Laura couldn't bother me there. I could bring one assistant, so I picked Carrie, who's great at her job. But when it was time to leave, Carrie was nowhere to be seen. After waiting a bit, Laura walked over in a black business suit. I was shocked, rushed over, and whispered, "What did you do to Carrie?" "Nothing much," Laura grinned. "I just told her if she didn't stay away from you, I'd hurt her daughter. So she went home. Crazy person." I almost yelled it out loud. But in the end, I just had to hold it in. Meetings and reports dragged on for a whole week. That week felt like hell. Laura was like a virus next to me, constantly wearing me down. I even dreamed she killed Mike's whole family, then Carrie's, and finally even Uncle's. When I got home, I knew it was time to have a talk. I sat on the couch, gave Laura a long stare, and said, "Let's talk, Laura." "Dino, what do you want to eat today?" I said, "Let's talk." "Dino, how about hot pot tonight? Remember high school? You didn't have money and were so skinny, and I'd always take you out for hot pot." "Laura," I suddenly shouted. I said, "Let's talk. Stop avoiding it." "Dino, you don't want to talk, you want to force me to die." Laura suddenly broke into tears, shaking her head. "I know you want to break up again. I know you've been putting me off, waiting for the project to end to break up." She suddenly knelt in front of me, hugging my leg. "Dino, can't you forgive me? I've never betrayed you. I only hung out with Tim to make you pay more attention. At the wedding, I was a mess just to see how much you love me. The more you tolerate, the deeper you love." Her words had no logic, and I felt she was truly sick. I took a deep breath and said, "I really gave you a chance, but then you brought Tim home again. This isn't about betrayal anymore. It's about knowing I don't like something and doing it anyway. You don't respect me, and you've been getting worse. Like Lily, Carrie, you're jealous of everyone. Not just jealous, but you threaten them, which is illegal." Laura cried harder after I spoke. "I know it's wrong, but I can't help it, Dino. Remember when Mike put ointment on you in school? I hated him for that. I had someone beat him up. Later, he became your assistant, and I just wanted him gone. So it was her." Suddenly, I remembered Sunny dropping out senior year. What happened with Sunny? I asked. Sunny had that innocent first love look, and everyone knew she liked me while I was chasing Laura. She dropped out because her dad needed money for a stroke. I gave her $50,000, so she left to take care of him, but she came back later. I took another deep breath. "What about Tina from your college dorm?" In college, Laura and I weren't official, and Tina liked me, so Laura played matchmaker. Then Tina suddenly vanished. Tina was popular with guys. I set her up with a rich old man, so she was taken care of, Laura admitted. "How many people have you pushed away?" I was getting scared. "A lot. I can't even remember. But back then, I was only mildly sick. I made sure they were okay." Laura laughed a sad laugh, like she was the victim. "But many didn't need to leave like that. If you had agreed to be with me back then, She said, no one would have chased me. I asked what I'd long wanted to know, why didn't you accept me at first? Didn't like me or just like the attention? Laura shook her head, pointing to her own head. I have a hereditary mental illness. I didn't want to drag you down, but I couldn't help loving you, so I confessed. That sentence suddenly made me feel sorry for her. Just then, a driver opened the door. Cops rushed in fast. A female officer said, Ms. Laura, since Mr. Tim was found dead in your property, you need to come with us for investigation. What? Tim's dead? I looked at Laura in disbelief. She smiled at me and whispered, See, Dino, I wasn't lying. Tim won't bother you anymore. At that moment I felt chills. I pitied her illness but feared her madness. Her being taken away could be a final goodbye. Is that a relief for both of us? I watched her leave but felt no relief, just more pain. For 2 weeks I didn't leave home. When I was sober, I drank, then reminisced about all the times with Laura. Laura paused, her face turned cold, her eyes reddening. She forced a smile and said, Dino, you agreed just like that. Did you ever really love me? Apart from her controlling nature, she seemed to genuinely care. I honestly couldn't stand her. Is that fair to her, being a patient and all? Even when she was taken away for 2 weeks, I didn't visit her once. But selfishly, I thought, if Laura turns out okay and comes back, what do I do then? Can I really spend the rest of my life with someone like her? If I refuse, will she kill me or herself? Or will she go completely insane and harm everyone I care about? Maybe her not coming back would be the best solution. I walked out of the house, sat outside, and smoked. The sunlight was a bit harsh. In the sunlight, there seemed to be a shadow of a person. She wore a simple white dress, skin like porcelain, stunning features, and a radiant smile. Dino, I'm back. Laura bent down and smiled at me. I couldn't tell if I was happy or sad, just felt like I was drunk. Laura sat next to me, leaned against me, and whispered, I rented that house to Tim a long time ago. I haven't been there in ages. So Tim hanging himself has nothing to do with me. Why would he suddenly commit suicide? Someone like him committing suicide? No way. Laura continued, everyone has something they hold dear. For me, that's you, Dino. For Tim, it was his sister, the one who raised him, the person he'd give his life to protect. She hugged my arm tightly and whispered in my ear. Plus, Tim knew I was sick. He knew I could kill. I chuckled, not responding. Might as well live day by day. Laura added, Dino, if you ever really can't stand me anymore, please make sure it's well planned and leave no evidence when you kill me. Otherwise, I might lose control and kill everyone you care about.